Alrighty, welcome to CIT 93 JavaScript, Fresno City College, 100% online, full 18-week 4-unit class. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to be teaching this class. I've been teaching this class for several iterations now, and I'm excited for you to experience the latest iteration of this class. This class is taken by often students in the web, commonly in the web developer program, that this is a core class for that group. It can also be taken by other CIT generalist majors as well. And often it is taken by people who are just interested in learning a programming language because of wherever their skill base or attention or interest lies. So there could be students both in this major and not in this major. So I really target students who have not programmed before. That's the intent of a class like this. So, but one of the first things we just want to chat about is the idea of how the world is changing. And I suspect if you've been checking out whatever social media or not even, or other discussions you may have had in your life, people are like, with the advent of generative AI, Chat GPT, and the like, Google's Gemini, I mean, we could go on. There's actually many different tools now you can choose from in this space of generating content and specifically targeted to coding. So, how is it going to impact coding? I follow many of the thought leaders in programming, and I listen to what they say because they have a perspective that is, of course, more broader than my own. And what I've gleaned from them, what I've taken from their discussions, is that yes, AI is definitely being able to code at a certain level and will increase that level. There is a good chance. But there is still a very vibrant need for people who can think structured thinking, program, being able to solve problems with code, being able to think in ways that computers at this point can't. And regardless of all those things, which I think those things are also very true, it is just something that can also help us kind of understand the world. It's like anytime you learn a programming language or maybe a different language, right? So we could make that analogy as well. It is helpful because it expands our brain, it expands our awareness and our understanding of the world around us. So, for whatever your reason for being here, I'm glad you're here. And so that's why I started with this, because it's very, very up topic happening in almost every circle I follow. And I suspect for those of you, because a very common question I get is, hey, is coding still relevant? And my answer to you would be absolutely. And learning to use it to your advantage. And that's something we're going to do in this course, is learning, helping it help you learn. Because the one thing I would just give you, the heads up about, when you're approaching a challenge in this class for doing a specific, coding for a specific thing that I've asked for, if you just jump over to ChatGPT and say, hey, do this for me, and take that code and use it, you're not learning, it's learning. And the thing you want to be able to do is learn how to code, because part of this class, in addition to all the reasons I mentioned before, is actually a technical interview where you need to code with me, meaning code in front of me. And that process, I've had a couple of students last semester. I tried to give them the warning overall as a class, but several students definitely came in last semester to the code review, and it was not exactly a great experience because they actually hadn't been doing the code. So part of what you want to get here is that muscle memory and that ability to code, take your thoughts or a requirement and be able to create code to do that. And the way I think the best use of AI is to help you understand maybe where you got something wrong or maybe where you could do something better. And you're going to see me implement this semester. As a matter of fact, when we get to the next item, which is an overview of the class, one of the things I'm implementing this semester based on having the students just finish the technical interviews at the end of the semester. And we'll talk about the technical interviews in the schedule, but they basically run from about mid part of the semester till the end. But it is a 30-minute session where you come in and chat with me. But one of the things I'm going to implement is a review. And at the end of the week, they'll start in week 2. At the end of that week, based on what we've learned, I'm actually going to have you interact with a generative AI under the what we call the API call is done to OpenAI, and then it submits an assignment into Canvas. This is a product that Rick Gomez and I have created, and it's really cool to see ways we can help students. We hope, right? That's our goal, to learn by using these tools that are out there. Okay, so just know that the goal here is to actually be able to code. Okay, so the overview of this class. So the other change I've made this semester, if you happen to be somebody that is making a second trip through this, is that I used to only use attendance for reporting. I'll still do that for campus attendance reporting, but actually also give it a few points. So those will have a bit more work than prior. Prior I just said do a reply, but you'll see a little more involvement in those. And then in the reviews is the ones I just mentioned. Like here's a review, like here's what we learned this week. Right, I'm going to give you an AI interface to actually practice that muscle memory in a way that is intended to help you actually just get more skill. So the weekly work is basically just whatever, like we'll have a code along or we'll have a discussion, and those things will happen each week. Up until, a matter of fact, it's generally 2 code alongs and so attendance, 2 code alongs and a discussion. And then at the midway point, again, we actually move to where we have less code alongs and you move into development work where you take what we've learned and you actually write based on your own topic of interest, and you'll learn more about that. Like, I think I'm going to stick with this semester what I've been using, which is a carbon footprint app. And so that's what we will build together. And then about halfway through, you will start building your particular app that you are interested in. And I'll have that in about 7 steps where you do that. And that will run towards the end of the semester. And then, of course, the technical interview. And the thing I would recommend at this point is actually for you to review the syllabus, right? Simple Syllabus has the way I handle late work. It has the grade breakdown specifically, so I've kind of gone over them, but please go check that out. Anytime you take a new course, you really should totally check out the syllabus in detail and ask questions or make sure you have that, okay? So the course itself, we can actually start looking at that here because I'm actually in this welcome or the video that you are watching right here. And one of the things you can see, and I'm just going to for a minute go back to the beginning when you came in here. And this, if you haven't taken my courses before, this will be new to you. If you have, you're going to be like, yeah, I get how Rio sets up her courses. And they're in sequential mode, which means you have to move through the course item by item. So on the week 0, which is where you're at, you'll need to do something, which I'll talk about at the end, which is a submission. And then when you do that, you'll get the checkbox, and then you can view the course Discord. That doesn't require you to do anything but view it, and then once you do that, then week 1 will open up to you. So that you will experience as, you know, it's sequential, but you can think of it as you have to take this course in order, okay? Now, the other thing that is really helpful for students to understand is the course schedule, right? So my class is set up, this class is set up so that it's Monday night due dates and Thursday night due dates. Now, because I haven't published these other ones yet, you don't see them. yeah, you don't see them yet, but just know that that's how this course goes is you'll have items due on Monday night, items due on Thursday night. There's a benefit to working ahead is if you work ahead, you submit something. My goal is to grade daily. So by doing that, if you miss something, and many students took advantage of this last semester, so I recommend you do as well, is like if earlier you can submit and I can review. If I find something, you can fix. If you find something after the due date, may not help you as much depending on what it is that you missed, because after the due date, any submission that you have is still accepted, but it's discounted by 25%. So I really set up my course grading to encourage students to move through to work early so that they can benefit from review and fix. Now, weekly, that's my weekly schedule. It's so interesting. The second week of the semester, there's a holiday, and it's not showing up here. But just know that anytime there's a campus holiday, then that work from that normal Monday night due date will be due the following night. Things in my class are due at midnight, but they don't disappear. They are actually available to you. My rule generally is that I grade my goal every day. I've generally made that goal for the last semester. I don't think I missed any specific days, but the thing that you can know is if something is due, right? When I wake up the next morning, as long as it's there, even though I have midnight as the due date, as long as it's there when I go to grade, I still accept it as online. I don't encourage you to be working that late in the evening, but I get it. Your schedule and my schedule may very well be different. Probably is. This is part of why I run a Discord server that you'll see on the next item, is because, our schedules could be different. Now, having said that, there is a tutor for this class, Zach Smith. His information and schedule is listed in Simple Syllabus. Definitely take advantage of that. If my schedule of office hours, right, and by the way, that's also in Simple Syllabus, you can either come on campus or you can be in Zoom. Anytime there's an office hour, I handle it that way. Okay, so we're actually getting to the point of this video where you're gonna start we'll start talking about what do you need to submit. Okay, for this class we use Git, which is a version control. So version meaning it tracks your code at a very precise character level, and so that's an important part of learning to code in general, is the idea of using a version control software. We're going to use the most popular one, which is Git, and therefore there's the companion website, which is GitHub, right? You're going to learn the options of setting up these development environments, and you'll learn that actually in week 1. We'll already start talking about that in general. GitHub does require at this point, I think this is still true, two-factor, right? So the idea that you need to be able to authenticate not just with the password, but also with SMS or some kind of track that can verify that it is authentically you. Okay, so what do you need to do here? So you need to complete this item, you got to give me your GitHub username. So if I just click in here and I say, actually I think by default it opens in a new tab. What you want to do here is actually, now some of you actually might have already been in some of my other classes and already have a GitHub username, right? So the username is what you have to submit in this assignment. So what you're going to do is if you have one, you can actually come back over to here and start the assignment. And in here, just give me now, like for me, my GitHub username is that. So whatever your GitHub username is, give it to me here if you have it. If you don't, then go ahead and sign up. And through that sign up process, you will create a free account. By default, GitHub is free. But if you see some marketing in there that says, hey, pay for this particular functionality, just know you do not need to do that. And you can use whatever email account you want to use. You're not required to use the campus email. And that will be, again, set up your GitHub user account and give me your username. And what I do, is I invite you into our GitHub organization. And this is what you will see me talk about when we move into week 1. So here's our GitHub organization. So what this is when you have your own GitHub, right? So like for me, right, this is my own space on GitHub where I can have only the things I am interested in or that I've built. But in our course organization, we will then have what's called public and private repos. You'll learn more about this, but repos are basically a pretty sophisticated folder concept that we will clone. Again, don't worry if you don't know these terms, you'll actually learn them in week 1. Okay, just a little preview. So what you need to do here, and there is a timing issue. I'm just going to give you the heads up here. Remember, harping back to the idea that you and I may have different schedules. If you're coming in here the day the semester starts, right, hopefully you're doing this soon enough I will see it, knowing that I'm an early morning gal, not a late afternoon, yeah, but not evening. Or actually, I generally kick the computer off, meaning I turn my notifications off about 6 o'clock in the evening. So if you're coming in after that and you're trying to complete this, because here's what you can know, you can't actually do all the work in week 1 without accepting an invite. So just a heads up, there you go. So go ahead and submit that. And then the next thing is to watch the next item. So as an example, if I hit submit here, oh, I do have to give it. I thought I did, but I guess I got rid of it. When I submit this, then I get the nice little, confetti, and then that opens up. And by the way, you can see this here. Not a bad thing to end with here. You can see my little checkbox. I still have this, that it started this module, but I haven't completed it. So now I'm going to go view the Discord. And when I finish just viewing it, then I will get the week 1 content. All right, glad you're here. Look forward to connecting with you. Have a great one.